It's Friday, by the way, so of course we may not get as many people as we would earlier on the week or towards Sunday. That's when we tend to
Mhm.
have most people. Okay, we are live, guys. This is the Sound of Accra podcast, a live Q&A session number 2. Drop a message in the chat if you can hear us. Give us a like. Let us know where you're listening from, where you're watching from, whether you're watching on LinkedIn, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're listening on YouTube or LinkedIn. Please drop us a like, drop us a message, and let us know where you're listening from. Just let us know. Just drop a message in the chat and let us know what you're listening from, wherever you are in the world. Just let us know. Drop a message in the chat and let's get this show on the road. We will be right back. We are going to play a few videos just to kind of give time for you guys, the audience, to join us, so we can get this show in the road. All right. Okay, just yeah. So once again, just if you're watching the LinkedIn, hit the like button, drop us a message, let us know if you're listening, let us know where you're listening from. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, drop us a comment, let us know where you're listening from, let us know where you're coming from in the world. We'd love to hear where you are coming from. We are very excited that you could spend some of your Friday evening with us. We're going to be here for the best part of 1 hour, so please do join us. And we're looking forward to having this discussion with David here, my man, who's the co-founder of Eco Amet Solutions. And we're going to look at how we can make Ghana greener. We're going to look at the current problems, the challenges that we're facing in the world, and how we can improve that, and what solutions that we can bring as entrepreneurs, as creatives, to make things better, to make things smoother. So please do let us know your thoughts. Please do drop a message in the chat. If you have any questions for David today, please do drop the questions in the chat. And then, of course, we'll get to those questions as soon as we can. We won't take too much of your Friday because I'm sure you guys want to go out and enjoy yourself. So please do let us know where you're listening from at the moment. Please do let us know where you're listening from, and please do let us know where you're coming from. All right. Okay. Okay. So someone's saying can't hear us on LinkedIn. Can you hear us in YouTube? Let us know if you can hear us in YouTube. Let us know if you can hear us in YouTube. Let us know if you can on YouTube. Okay, we're just waiting for some people. Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3. David, how's your day been so far? You're on mute at the moment. You just want to unmute yourself.
I told you I had a very crazy day today, but hey, it's just an amazing time here, and we thank God for life, buddy. How
That's
is it
it.
going
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, it's going good. It's going good. Everything's going great. Everything's going great. Can't complain. Currently I'm in London and the weather's heating up, so it's gonna be a hot summer. It looks like
Hmm.
it's gonna
Yeah.
be a hot summer. Yeah, yeah. All right, cool. So we're starting to see some people join us. Thank you for joining us this evening. Um, yeah. So look, we're gonna go for a quick break and we'll be right back. So Felix, thank you for joining us, listening from China. We've had one person say that they can't hear us, so please do let us know if you can hear us, if that's for sure. I mean, it's great that you can hear me, which is great. And Kamath, thank you for joining. I'm really pleased that you can hear, that I am not going crazy, I'm not going mad. One person said he could hear us on YouTube, but he couldn't hear us on LinkedIn. So I'm trying to understand what's going on here, but of course we're going to make it work. Okay, so the sound is great. Thank you so much, Felix. Perfect. That's what we like to hear. So look, we're gonna go on a very quick intermission. When we come back, we're gonna go straight into my conversation with David. Don't you go anywhere. We have lots of content, lots of great discussions coming up for you guys, and we're going to go into the questions, in about 20 minutes or so. Colin, thank you for tuning in. Yes, good to hear you as well. Thank you for spending some of your Friday with us. I know this is not the best time, but thank you so much. Adrian Benjamin, thank you so much for joining us today. You can hear me on LinkedIn. Please do hit that like button. Please do reshare, leave a comment so we can get this content out to people that need to hear it. Thank you, Adrian, who's also my Asian twin. Thank you for joining.
What
I
is
hope you're having
happening?
hope you're having a great week. It was good seeing you a few weeks, buddy, and looking forward to doing another podcast with you soon. So, guys, let's keep it locked here at the Sound of Accra. We're going on a quick break, and we will be right back. We're also going to play the season finale trailer. If you guys do not know already, we have the season finale this Sunday on the Sound of Accra podcast YouTube channel. Just head over to youtube.com/the Sound of Accra podcast, subscribe, and you will be able to watch the season finale episode on Sunday with Darren Bond, the real estate entrepreneur and business consultant, who's British Ghanaian. The trailer has amassed over 50,000 views, ladies and gentlemen, in a few days. Can you believe it? 50,000 views,
Oh, that
which
sounds
is
amazing work.
incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's incredible. It's unbelievable what's going on. So keep a look, guys. We're gonna play a quick video from David. We're going to play the trailer quickly, and we will be right back. Please do keep it locked right here. All right? Okay, we'll be right back. We'll be right back. Okay, so you just need to switch off your camera for a second, David.
When I came, it's not the Ghana people see today. When I moved, you know Golden Tulip?
No Golden Tulip, yeah.
There was no road. It didn't exist. There was a dirt road. Culture shock. Ghana is a place that you can wake up one morning, internet, electricity, your toaster, your iron, everything's broken. After I passed 2 years, there was no going back. And it was like, go back to do what? To me, procrastination is a waste of time. I'd rather do something and fail than just dream about it. Every morning you wake up, somebody wants your position. The moment you decide to sleep, somebody's coming for it. Somebody's in a sick bed right now, wishing they had your problems. You're slow, you missed the boat.
And just like that, we are back at you. Just like that. That's the season finale coming on Sunday. 50,000 views in 3 days. Are you crazy? Are you absolutely crazy? We are taking over, guys. I'm joking. You're not crazy. You're sane because you're watching us. Thanks again. So once again, guys, if you want to catch the season finale only exclusively on our YouTube, head over to youtube.com/the Sound of Accra podcast. There'll also be some announcements on Sunday as well, so you do not want to miss this. The way my phone is going crazy, the way Darren's phone is going crazy. People want this. They want this. All right. Anyway, today's not about him. It's about David. So once again, David, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for bringing me in here. And really, it's exciting the work you're doing. I never miss an episode. Do you know that?
Wow.
I never
Incredible.
do miss an episode since
That's
I started
incredible.
listening. Really,
That's
really
incredible.
good.
Thank you so much, David. And I'm subscribed to your podcast as well. I really like what you're doing. And the other day I listened to, the episode that you did with I'm trying to remember his name, but then you talked about, COP26. You talked about how companies, are, their emissions, how everything can can cause emissions, whether it's, it can be anything. It can be our iPhone, it can be
Yeah.
our Android, it can be our computers, our cars, and even the more subtle things such as using paper and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. It's just, yeah, I mean, I think that's probably a good talking point. But before we get into that, let's just do some shout outs. So LinkedIn user, well, I don't know who this is. LinkedIn is loud and clear. Looking forward to it, guys. Thank you, whoever you are. Thank you so much. Boom, that's awesome. Yeah, shout out to you, Colin. Thank you so much for tuning in. Joshua, you're so ready. Yep, I'm ready for Sunday. I hope you're ready too. It's gonna be a mad one. Okay. Yeah. So David, thank you again once again. Before we get into the discussion, just quickly, just give a elevator pitch to the audience about yourself and what you do at Eco Amet Solutions and other ventures.
Yeah, thank you, Adrian. And it's really exciting to be on your platform today. My name is David, and I'm currently a final year PhD student. I'm studying environmental engineering in China University,
Mhm.
specifically Hohai University. And my thesis has been supervised also by a research institute in Spain, where we collaborated since 2018. And I have the privilege of leading and being a co-founder of Eco Amet Solutions in Ghana.
Mm.
We are a consulting company, environmental consulting, and we are also into research
Mhm.
as well as education, which is super, super important. I'm sure we'll be diving into a lot of it today.
Mhm.
And also another privilege to be hosting a weekly podcast, Green Living Chat podcast. I'm sure a lot
Love
of
it.
our listeners might have heard about it. So it's as a platform where we just dive into sustainability conversations and educate you on what sustainability is and what is your role in that. So we have conversations with researchers and people in the industry on all stakeholders in between, right? And of course, recently, something that we're also very proud about, we're just uh, added to this year's Global Citizens by the Ban Ki-moon
Mhm.
scholarship for this year. And we are very super excited about it because they're going to support one of our ideas, initiatives in research across the continent of Africa. And so super exciting. This is a little bit of what we do in our company.
Exciting, and I really love the work that you're doing, David. This is why I love having people such as yourselves on the show, because it's just so unique. I mean, you just don't find a lot of people who are approaching sustainability, their environment, pollution in such a unique way. And I think for you, it's not just about raising awareness about the climate change, the environment pollution and things like that. It's also how you can use wastage and how you can use like the plastics that's been wasted in the world that can actually be recycled and use it for goods, for businesses and our personal lives, for the country.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, you said it rightly. What we are doing in our company actually forms part of the baseline of everything. We just want education to go out there. We just want it to be in our everyday conversation. So right now, if you ask someone outside, what is sustainability? We have heard it so much. It's become a household name. I mean, everyone is using it for their own benefits. It could be anything to anyone, but what is the actual meaning? If we don't understand it, we cannot make the right moves towards it. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest issue right now. Whether we are willing to change or whether we are not willing to change, it actually depends on whether we really understand what is happening. And so that is what we are trying to contribute to because it's the baseline of everything. If that is built well, everything else can work. Uh,
Absolutely, absolutely.
mhm.
Thank you, Anthony, for tuning in. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you and the family are blessed. God bless you. Thanks for joining us. I hope you get some value from today. Look at David. Use this opportunity to quickly sip some water. It must be really hot out there. Must be really, really hot.
It's actually raining like terribly,
in
like for a
in
couple of
Costa
days
Rica.
now.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it rains almost every day now for the past almost 2 weeks.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane. That's absolutely insane. Okay. Now I want to go back to what I was talking about earlier on in terms of emissions and things like that. Now, I think you mentioned on one of the podcasts the interesting facts that you put out saying that is it like out of the whole world, out like businesses and stuff like that. I think is that Africa that only emits 6% of the global emissions or something like that.
Way
That's
less than
crazy.
that.
Way less than that.
Way
So
less
the
than
West is really doing the damage.
that.
The West is really doing the damage, right?
I mean, when we talk about this, I mean, I said earlier that we want to draw a baseline, let everyone understand the reason why we're having such conversations. First and foremost, we have to understand that the reason why Africa is, emitting less of these, contributing to less of these emissions is because our industrial, sector is not well developed that much as compared to the West, and that
Okay.
is one of the means through which most of the emissions are coming from. So basically, that is a very understandable of course, that is not the only way that the emissions come, but there are so many other sources which are definitely coming majoritarily from the West.
That's insane. Yeah, because I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot more industrialization in the West. I mean, globalization is more of a thing in the West, and when
Definitely.
you think about all of the things being produced that we use and we import, it comes from the West. It comes from other countries, not necessarily Africa. And
Mhm.
Africa is only starting to kind of like become more of an industrialized type of country, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So yeah, guys, feel free to get your questions in the chat for David at any time you want. We're going to keep this conversation going. So David, I'm sure, of course, we had of course, that I put out a Pod Bites episode, maybe a couple months back or so, talking about plastic waste management. And of course, okay, for those of you listening who aren't really familiar with the Sound of Growth podcast, so I started a new segment called Pod Bites, where essentially I look at things taking place in Ghana or things impacting the Ghanaians and the Ghanaian diaspora around the world, whether it's current affairs, business relations, etc. And one of the episodes I pull out, which of course these are solo episodes. This is me talking about plastic waste management. So this is talking about what are we doing with the plastic waste in Ghana. So in that episode, I talked about different things that I've observed, whenever I'm in Ghana. So whether that's the rubbish collectors, when they come to your house and they pick up the rubbish, they take the rubbish, but there is no recycling part to it. And when I go to places such as Kolebu, there's so much rubbish waste. It stinks and it's horrible. I'm sure those of you that have been to Kolebu, it's horrible smell. It's very, very unpleasant. But then you really need to do something about that. It's just a lot of waste, and you see people burning rubbish. You see so much waste being mishandled, especially plastic is just in the waters, in the seas. It's terrible. So anyway, David, I wanted for you to kind of like share your views on like how plastic is being managed, maybe necessarily in Africa and in maybe Ghana, and how you see plastic being discarded in the waters, which isn't really the best way to handle it, and how we can kind of get, resolve that issue.
Yeah, I think plastics has actually become a very common household name right now. Everyone is
Yeah.
mentioning it all over because of its impact. But how did we get here? That is a very important question to ask. And if you look at history, or if you read a lot of things that are happening in the waste management industry, especially even in Ghana, most of our waste that we used to generate, if you look at the statistics right from maybe the 60s to down to right now, it was organic. Majority of the waste was organic. And when plastics was introduced to the world, of course, for its properties being it's durable, it's strong, it can do so many things, I think the world really didn't think that deep about how are we going to really manage this. The whole idea was, okay, we're going to recycle it, we're going to reuse it, but we really didn't think deep into how we're going to make that thing actually come into life, right? So we just brought it out, and after the First World War, Second World War, it was just coming. They couldn't stop because it was used as a packaging and a
Yeah.
single-use material for all that. And now let's come back home, and it has been introduced to us. The organic substance that we used to have the idea, because you look at a typical Ghanaian character, they just sit in a car. I
Hmm.
always use this example. You see this guy in a tie, just came back from working at the bank and is in a car in traffic, just buy water and just throws it out of the car.
Yeah.
It's because traditionally it was just okay for you to just throw a banana peel out there and it's just going to degrade in a couple of days and you're good to go. But now we didn't really adapt to this, and it's not good. That is on a personal level. But when you go to the government level and the municipal level and the stakeholders and all that, already plastics is showing us that we didn't have a proper or a strategic good waste management system. And I think obviously the things
Mm,
we see around us on the streets, just like you were saying, it's clearly that we are not doing well already. But this plastics and the issues that it has come with, especially single use and packaging, has
yeah.
actually made the whole thing very clear that this was the issue. And what are we doing about it? Here we are. You can see the results. I mean, it started raining in Accra now. The floods are gonna come every year. It comes, and it's not just because people are building in channels and in waterways and other things. It's
Yeah.
it's also because the plastics and other waste materials are choking most of the already existing channels that we have. There are a lot of contributing factors, but I think as we dive into the conversation, I would like to be a little bit louder on the solutions that I think we can equip ourselves with. But I think
Mm,
when it comes to the issue that is on the ground, it's very obvious. And it's not just in Ghana or just African countries. There are a lot of countries that are also struggling with waste management. And let me tell you something that was happening in the
go on.
West.
Go
I
on,
mean,
David.
in the West, there is a lot of things. When I say the West, just don't mean the United States of America or Canada or other things. I mean
Hmm.
everywhere else outside Africa. The whole world used to ship their waste to China until about 2015, 2016, because the ships were just taking, I mean, China was like the factory of the whole world. So the ships keep bringing, materials from China to the other parts of the world, and they needed the ships to come back not empty. So, of course, you bring back your recyclable materials, that's mostly plastic, and then they bring it to China, and China will mold them into packaging for the materials that are going back already. And
Wow.
when China stopped this, it was a surprise to the whole world. And China, they are not gonna notify you that, hey,
Yeah.
bro, I'm gonna do this in the next quarter. So please, it was just like boom, everyone just had that kind of shock. And
Yeah.
so the US, Canada, everyone, the UK, Germany, so all these countries were shocked, right? So waste management is actually not excelling in those countries. We have to understand that collecting waste from individual homes to a particular place is not waste management. It's just the beginning of the supply chain. So they do well with collection,
Yeah.
but when it comes to it management, I
It's
trust
terrible.
me on this.
Yeah.
Other countries like Philippines and smaller countries in Asia are receiving waste constantly from all these countries. Ghana is no exception, and now we can see it clearly even in the fashion industry. We
Mm.
used to have something very common, like in Ghana we call it brony wewu, like you wear the secondhand clothes. Now if you go to the marketplaces, they are telling you that now they have like 60, 50, 50% of the products that are coming that are practically waste, electronic waste. And practically people go to their warehouses and the harbors, and you open the containers and it's
Whoa.
just full of waste, right?
Whoa.
So even in Africa, if in Ghana we are
Mm.
just recycling less than 5% of our plastic waste, the US is doing less than 10. And this is what statistics from the World Bank is saying. So it's a general problem all over the world. Other countries are doing better, especially I think in Sweden, they are doing really, really
Oh,
better.
Sweden.
And then,
Those
yeah,
countries.
exactly. So it's a general problem, but I think that we shouldn't just sit and just be happy because it's just general problem. We have to really act on it because, as you said, it's getting really overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean it's just fascinating, and I want to touch upon the first point you made in terms of plastic waste management, and I think this is something that I think you discussed on one of the webinars that you guys did, talking about how plastic when the whole industry of plastic packaging started, towards the early 1900s. Is that correct? The early
Yeah,
1900s, after you said after the World War II, World War One,
1950s.
1950s. There you go.
Yeah,
After World War II, this is when the plastic industrialization or packaging started. Plastic, the use of plastic wasn't as much, but when you look at there's a chart. I wish I had it for you guys tonight. But if those of you that want it, just drop me an email, info@thesoundofaccra.com, or just fill in our contact page on the website. But anyway, there was this interesting graph or chart or picture that you guys shared where it's like the use of plastic exponentially was increasing over the years to a
yeah,
point where now Like if you go back 10 years to compared to today, like it's
Yeah.
almost like doubled or tripled. It's
Yeah.
so scary, and it just shows you how like the world, if we do not take action, the world is just going to be in such a mess. And
Yeah.
now to the point where there's even plastic in some of our food. Like
Yeah. It's gone
we need to
really
do better,
far,
guys. We
even
need
in
to
our
do better.
blood.
Even now, but we need to do better. Nanoplastic, and come on, you guys, we need to do better. You know, it's all well and good me picking up a empty coat plastic bottle and putting the recycling bin, but it's way more than this. It's way
Yeah.
more than this. And in terms of the waste management in Ghana, I do agree with you. Like, it's all well and good. They come to the houses, I mean, the residential houses, and they pick it up. Of course, you have to pay them, etc. But they just dump it. It's more than that. Like, what are we doing with the waste? Are we just dumping it? Are we shipping it or burning it? Like, we need to be able to put that waste to good use. Do you understand? We need to be able to put it to good use. Um, we're gonna dive into some solution in terms of how do you think Ghana should be using the waste once we picked up from the houses, from residential locations, from commercial locations. Where does this waste, where should it be recycled, where should it go, and how can we use it for our personal lives and for businesses, as entrepreneurs, as creatives, as human beings? Let's just quickly jump onto the comments. So Felix says, Felix, thank you for your comment. Felix says, Adrian, you're right. The waste management system within the Kolebu area is quite appalling. It's terrible. It's honestly terrible. You know, Hank, thank you again for tuning. Please smash that like button, leave us a comment on the channel. Watching this program live from Pram Pram. Hey,
Yay.
Pram Pram, good old Pram Pram. For those of you who don't know Pram Pram, Pram Pram is an area not far from Tema. Is it on the other side of Tema, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's got lots of land. It's an up and coming area, you know,
Mhm.
in Accra technically, and it's got lots of land. Yeah, and then Phoenix says in Ghana, all we do is waste collection and transportation, which are just two stages of the waste management system.
Exactly.
Oh, Phoenix, you've hit you've said it for us, or you've said it for us today. But yeah, you know what? We've actually got some questions, so maybe we should just start. You know, I think we'll probably mix up discussion questions, just based on
Mhm.
how the questions are coming in. But yeah, let's go straight into this one. And then we can look at the solutions. Perhaps, does banning single-use plastic even make a deny in the bigger problem of climate change? So this is from Collins Little Tete. Do you want to take the one, David?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think that it's one of the things that lots of countries are adapting. Sort of, let's ban the single-use plastics, and then we are all good. But I think I have to draw this understanding that there is nothing wrong with the material plastics. I think that a lot of people just go out and start, saying all things because it's used in the medical field, it's used in technology. I mean, it's a super good material. The problem with plastics is not with the material, it's with the people who use it. So, how we use it and how we manage it is the problem. And I must say that at this particular moment, in this particular century, in this particular year, I don't think that banning single-use plastics is for every country. And I say this because of other strategies that if you do a feasibility analysis, you might think that, or you might get to know that it's way better off than to ban it. A typical example is we are currently doing a study in Rwanda, which we are just about starting. But
Wow.
from previous conversations that we had, um, Rwanda has been able to execute a ban on single use plastics for a couple of years now. But if you ask them, they are still going through challenges because they are like now an island in the northern part or in the eastern part of Africa who have banned single use plastics. But the other countries, I mean, imagine, Adrian, you just go to Rwanda, you just
Yeah.
get to the airport and they
Yeah.
set your bags for plastics.
Yeah.
Whilst in any other country, you will never have that, right? I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's bad, but
Yeah.
those are some of the challenges that we have. And if we don't tackle this kind of approach, like banning single-use plastics with a very thorough study, and also see a feasibility of it in the surrounding country, applicable in the country itself,
Mhm.
then we might do it and it will bring lots of issues than it
Yeah.
would have before. So I
Okay.
suggest that really before we dive into something like that, we really have to do like a good study. What are the
Yeah.
alternative materials to replace it with? What are some of the supply chain that are already working with the single-use plastics, and actually it has to also deal with the human behavior. Are people really willing to pay more? Because now sustainable materials are more expensive. If you have a plastic straw and someone has a metal straw, if you look at the prices, the metal straw is more expensive. And these are like things that we really have to think about. Is the government willing to subsidize these materials? These are things that need to go in before the legalization comes in. And I think that's the main approach. And of course, in as much as people are
Mm.
looking at the banning, let's also look at more like educating people on. Sometimes you go and buy wache by the roadside,
Yeah,
and you can take a container to go and take it, and you just
yeah.
go and get this
The
plastic
plastic bag.
material.
Thank you so much. Yeah, because I
Yeah,
don't like taking plastic bags of someone when I'm buying something. I'm like, no, no, keep it, keep it, keep it.
yeah,
Even in Ghana, they try and give it to you. I'm like, no, no, keep it, keep it, keep it. Let me use my
exactly.
own thing. I usually carry my rucksack if I'm cycling or whatever I'm doing,
Yep,
right? Or a
yep,
car, whatever. So I definitely agree with you that one. And it's quite funny you mentioned the whole banning single-use plastic in Rwanda, because I'm sure you noticed my guest
yeah,
Samuel Brooksworth from
yeah.
Remotely. He said the exact same thing. So I interviewed Samuel Brooksworth, who owns Remotely, which is a virtual assistance company. If you're
Amazing.
listening, Samuel, shout out to you. And it's fastest growing virtual assistance company in Africa. And he said the exact same thing. He went to Rwanda with his wife. As soon as he got to the airport, they noticed his wife had a plastic bag in her bag, and then he was like, "What are you doing to my wife?" They're
You
like, "Oh,
can't.
you can't bring a plastic to the country." So this is fantastic border control, right?
Yeah,
So the way Ghana was treating COVID is the way
yeah,
they were treating the plastic bags
exactly.
in
Yeah.
Rwanda, and
Hmm.
that's why Rwanda is such a clean country.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
great, but now the problem is just like what you said. If Ghana tries to do that, it's all well
mhm,
and good. But one, do we have the infrastructure and the systems and the education to do that? And two, if you do that, would it lead to some kind of society collapse? I don't know,
yeah,
but to some extent, it could do. So very
yeah.
very interesting point.
Hmm.
Yeah, very very powerful. Let's go to another question. Colin, I've seen that you've asked another question. We'll come straight back to you. Um, Anthony, thank you, brother, for your question. Appreciate it. He says fast fashion brings a huge amount of clothing waste as the quality of the clothes is poorer than it was in years past.
Yeah.
As a result, when the secondhand clothes arrive in Ghana, they are no longer fit for purpose. Is there a way Ghana can control the quality of clothing coming in, or is it something that has to be dealt with by the exporting country? Or is clothing waste simply out of control? Very, very good question. Very good question, Anthony.
Yeah,
Thank you,
really
thank
good
you for this.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really thank you, Anthony, for this. It's a super great question. I've had
Mm,
several conversations on our podcast concerning fast fashion. This is a very long supply chain, and the issue actually comes from where the whole process starts from. So lots of companies in the US, all these big companies, H&M and all the big clothing companies, they have moved all their production to Asia and places where they can get cheap labor. And so this is the reason why now clothes that you see on the red carpet and all those places are becoming cheaper because they are using certain things within, I don't want to dive into right now, to make the process, a little bit cheaper. I mean, using kids to work, people that did not pay well, and all those kind of things to get in there. So now you get a cloth for just $5, $3, $6.99, and it's
yeah,
just fine for you. So you just wear it for a couple of days, they are not so strong, and then you just throw it away.
by the way.
And now it's the waste is getting too much. So of course they have to fuse some of them into the secondhand. They claim charity, these kind of things. Why would you send a cloth that was for maybe someone's funeral or someone's birthday party to another country to be used as a secondhand product, right? So there's a huge list of stakeholders who are involved in this to make this thing work. One, I think that the government of Ghana really needs to make strict rules at the port, because the materials or the containers do not fly and drop in the center of the country. They come through
Mm,
the port. So if we know the source from which these materials are getting in, why can't we inspect them well and make sure that we have good things coming in? Philippines did the same thing. The Ministry of Environment went to the harbor, opened a couple of containers, realized that these things were all total waste. send them back to where they came from. Simple. If you can't manage your
I
waste,
understand
you
that.
think we can manage our waste? I
Yeah.
mean, and I honestly,
it's
I
it's
honestly,
it's incredible, man.
yeah, I honestly think that, I don't know for sure exactly what goes into, or which agencies are in charge of, okay, let me take these clothes from here, let me take it. But I know that in the US, they have special points where if you don't like your clothes, you can just dump them into there, and then they gather all these clothes and then bring them in here. But I think that, of course, there are a lot of people whose work or livelihoods
Well, David, hopefully David will be back in just a moment. It's just froze a
depend on,
little bit. There you are, back.
yeah, yeah. So it was I where did I lose you?
You only like you went off for like 5 seconds, so
Okay,
just
that's fine.
yeah,
Yeah. So there are a lot of people whose livelihoods depend on this particular supply chain. So I think that, I mean, it will be good that we make sure that good products are getting in. Where do they end up? As Anthony said, if you go to places in Accra, it's just sad. There's been a couple of documentaries made about this,
so
and
many.
they
Yeah,
cannot do anything. So from Makola, they just go straight to the dump sites, and they are just heaped there. They find their way to the sea. There's a couple of dump sites close to the sea. So I mean, I wonder if our stakeholders and our leaders are actually seeing this,
yeah,
because if they get to the landfills, it's difficult for the youth and people who are interested in this to sort of go into recycling, right? But then if something is done right at the ports, the actual thing has to be done at the port. I think there has to be strong policies towards this, because if you open your border to them, I think that they will keep bringing it because they cannot manage it. It's too much waste,
yeah,
so they have to keep bringing it. But why can't we just produce enough that we can wear? I think I always think about it. You go to the shops and we have too much produced. So of course, it's time that maybe in the West that they think they have things so affordable. I think that we should start thinking about, where your product end. If they should have adverts like that on TV, guess what? This is where your product end. People will just start buying clothes when they really need them, I think.
yeah, yeah. I totally agree with everything that you just said. Um, like we need to get rid of this culture of disposable clothing and wear it once and just throw it away. I think we should use clothes, we should use it as much as possible. And I feel like, the rich are part of the problem. I mean, they will just wear
Yeah.
something once and just throw it away rather than just, washing it, reusing it, and
Mhm.
just it can last a few times, not just once, right? Just
Yeah.
because you want to um look good. And I think the sad thing is that we're in such a consumerist society, or capitalist society, if you will, where there's pressure for everyone to look good, to smell good, whatever it is. And as a result, we're constantly throwing away things,
Yeah.
throwing away. I'm constantly using products, using products without implications of what that's doing to the environment. And as a result, it just adds up and builds all of this mess and all
Yeah.
of this waste.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go to the next question here. So thank you again, Anthony, for your question. If you're still listening, Collins, another one. He loves it. Thank you. Question two: is it ever environmentally helpful to have plastic wrapped foods to keep food from being wasted? That's a very good question. Very good question.
Yeah, actually, it's really a good question, because it's one of the things that people are saying. I mean, it's, when it comes to this argument, there are two sides of it. That, okay, so if you want us to remove the single-use plastics, I mean, hey, your food is getting waste, because now we also realize that another issue apart from plastics is also organic waste and food waste. Lots of food is being wasted every year,
Yeah.
and it's actually not the food that we finish eating on the plate.
Mhm.
Maybe it's not that kind of waste. It's between the farm and the market. The food, the tons of food that actually gets waste, because probably they get rotten or bad transportation or so many things that are involved. But I think that there are two ways to this. Whether we really want, to waste the food, or we just want, to preserve the food with these materials. But I think that there is a way that we can handle this. There are a lot of models that has been introduced, let's say, trying to purchase from local farmers, like, let's say, in our community, if we have a small shop, instead of, keep shipping things. Actually, there is a new campaign that is coming that probably maybe we should stop shipping things across border. And why don't we purchase locally made products so that if we have a shorter distance to travel, we don't have to use packaging so that the materials or the food waste gets or the food gets wasted. So that's another
It's clever.
school of
It's
thoughts.
clever.
There is also another one
That's
that,
clever.
okay, why don't we pack into maybe larger quantities in one container, so we don't have to have every single material. Have you ever been to a supermarket
Yeah.
where you see banana peeled out of its peel
And
and then
repackaged.
chopped and
Chopped.
packed in plastic?
Ah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? So there is another side of it that is
Oh man.
excessive, right?
Oh gosh.
But then also there is another side where people are thinking about maybe what is the impact of this single-use plastics in wrapping food. And I think there's been a lot of research that has been done about it. It hasn't been proven clearly yet whether it has an impact on our health or other things. But if you do a life cycle analysis, it depends on the location, the energy that is being applied, and all that. It makes it probably clear that maybe we have to think more about more sustainable materials to use, especially when it comes to single use. If I'm just going to Walmart to buy something and I just come back in a cucumber, I'm just going to remove it and just chop it. And in 5 minutes, that thing has become waste. Then I think we are not making sense, right? Maybe we should consider how we package these materials. We can still use the plastics in some way when it's very necessary, because of course it improves the shelf life of these food waste, especially food materials especially. But then I think that there is a whole lot of thoughts that has to go in, because some of them are just doing it unnecessarily.
Yeah. Very, very good points there. And I think one of the points that stood out there is I think we need to learn how to share, whether it's between a family or sharing items that we have. Like the point that you mentioned about, why do we have to carry food in separate packaging? Why can't we, if we're all in a group together, why can't we just have it on one big packaging to save using extra packaging? And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that you shared. I think we can be more sensible about how we use packaging and not wasteful. I think if we're in a position where we have to improvise, and if we're in a position where there isn't much packaging, you would always find a way to make it work. And I think that's the way people need to think. You need to think out of the box and say, hey, look, how can I handle this product or this perishable food, whatever it is, without having to necessarily use plastic or some kind of packaging?
And you're totally right, actually. I mean, before plastics, what happened? What was happening? I mean, if you look back, even in Ghana, wache and a lot of materials and food products were actually made in certain packaging, which was natural. And when you finish, you just find a way to compost it, and you're good to go. So I think it's actually a blend of kind of putting a lot of efforts into being intentional that probably these kind of packages, we do not need them. How many people will actually keep a bag in their car so that maybe in case they have to purchase something, they'll just buy it on the road, and keep their materials, the things they purchased, in the bag, right? How many people will do that? But some people see that as too much work and other things. But in Ghana, we had this thing where if you buy Coke, those days, I remember very well. If you buy Coke and you want to buy another drink, you have to send the empty glass bottle to the shop and buy a new one. What happened to it?
Like, I know, right? I missed that.
It was working.
Minerals, Coke, Fanta,
right?
Sprite. Go take your bottle and bring it back. It was recycling in essence, right? It was recycling. It was great, right?
No one complained. It was working. I mean, you cannot, if you forget, you have to go back and get it, or you pay more.
Yeah. But it was a good incentive.
When we had this, it's gone.
The West creeping into Africa more, right? It's causing problems. It's bringing convenience, but it's also bringing problems at the same time. And this is the issue. You understand? This is the issue. We're not saying plastic is necessarily bad, but it's not how it's been recycled and how it's been used and consumed and sold to the masses. That's the problem here. You're very popular today, David. For Friday evening, you're getting questions, man. So more power to you. I think you're engaging the audience today. We're gonna keep this going. There's been so many questions that's been popping in. So
oh boy.
Isaac, thank you again for tuning in. Joshua got a question from Joshua. Joshua says, "What would be the best?" Well, thank you, Joshua, for tuning in. By the way, Joshua says, "What would be the best way to change the Ghanaian mindset that everything from the West is good?" That's $1 million question, isn't it?
So good.
That's $1 million
Wow.
question, Joshua. Thank you for your question. Please like, subscribe, whether you're watching on LinkedIn, YouTube. Once again, please hit the like button. Please leave a comment if you haven't asked a question and you're watching, so we can get this content out to more people who need to see this or hear it. Okay, take it away,
Yeah.
David.
Yeah, Joshua, really, thank you for this question. I would really love to dive deeper into this question because there's a lot to say.
You've got him
But
started.
in simple terms, I think that we have to structure the education system again. Everything starts from education. It actually not just the formal education, but informal as well. At home, your dad is telling you that okay, as little as hey, finish school quickly and then go outside, get better, and then don't come back. I mean, wait, don't come back again. These kind of thoughts, right? It's like a seed, and every time it drops within us, and it's like okay, the everything good from the west, everything from the west is good, but then things that we have locally is not good. Do you think that someone would like to live in a madhouse, or like let's say what we term as a five-star hotel?
Mm,
No one will like it. But in those days, if you look at our systems, why did you think our forefathers were living in mad buildings? Because the weather was warm and the mud could keep the buildings cool. But how many
mm,
architects from Ghana
powerful.
have been able to make this mad innovation into a modern style where the youth will be enthused about it? Let's say a rich guy says that, okay, I'm gonna build this, 10-bedroom building and I want to use mud. Which architect in Ghana has been able to come with such initiatives? It's because we think that, okay, let's use the bricks, let's use the blocks, let's use the roofing sheets, let's get air conditions into the building. But who has actually thought that what the materials we had locally were good? So
Mm,
it's in the education system. Look, have you heard about any student? I mean, let's go to the universities and look at the faculties that are doing things that are quite local. I trust me. Back in the university, we didn't actually used to give a lot of respect to people who are doing, let's say, Ashanti culture, or they are learning BA Chi or Asante Chi, or
mm,
dancing or those kind of things. Those are actually people who have lower grades. Of course, there are people who have that as their ambition and everything. But our
mm,
culture is not being promoted. And I say culture because circular economy is actually embedded in our culture. As simple as my elder brother, I'm gonna wear his clothes. That's simple circular economy. Because all siblings are gonna wear each other's clothes, and that is whether you're a boy or
hand
a
me
girl,
downs.
you wear that,
Hand
right?
me downs. Yeah.
And so when we want to, if we want to really change the narrative, it has to go into the education system. Rwanda is doing something that is really amazing, like changing the national, language, the language that are being taught in schools. Simple things that make people cherish their own culture, right? In Ghana, if it wasn't for Friday wears, trust me, people do not wear traditional clothes to work, right? Like, these are simple things and they are part of our culture. And if our
Yeah.
culture is not being appreciated, then trust me, every other thing that we learn in school is not gonna add up to anything, because we are totally dependent on the West, but we do not investigate a lot into what
Mm,
can our culture help us with. How can we preserve the things that we're doing? I'm not
yeah.
saying we should go back living in mad houses, but how can we kind of bring it up a little bit, add a little bit of value? I saw
Mm,
someone actually selling the sponge that we use to bath
yeah.
in Ghana. He
Yeah.
just put it in a package, like a
Whoa.
box, and selling it for high amounts in the US. And I'm like, wow, you go to Makola and it's like 1 city, two
Yeah.
cities, but we are not
Yeah.
adding value to
Value
anything of
to
ours,
anything.
right? We don't believe in our things.
Same thing
I
with
mean,
chocolate, right? Chocolate and
it's
cocoa and the way
oh,
we're
come
using.
on.
Oh my gosh, we can go on and on. This
So
such a
it's education,
huge,
my brother
huge question.
Joshua. Let's invest in education. I think that's the two, both
Yeah,
informal and formal.
Joshua, it's a fantastic question. Thank you so much for dropping that question. Really, really amazing. I mean, we
Yeah,
could go on
love
and
it.
on, but we don't have audio, unfortunately. Thank you so much. Um, we got questions. Let's just keep this going. If you guys have a question, please feel free. Didn't expect these amount of questions on the Friday, for you guys to be out and about. So here's another one from again an unknown LinkedIn user. A number of African countries have banned plastic bags in favor of using reusable alternatives. Great start, but lots need to follow. Plus, there needs to be more done to tackle the issue of plastic bottles, and more needs to be done to hold the manufacturing and bottling companies
that's
to
true.
account. Very, very, very true.
Yeah.
So I think that's more of a comment than a question. But do you want to add to that?
Yeah, for sure. The thing is, there are a lot of countries that are banning it. Kenya, Malawi is in policy making right now. Lots of countries. But the thing is it working? Are we just, like I said earlier, are we just thinking that, okay, this nearby country banned it, so we should also do it? We have to invest into it being feasible, right? The ban has become like sort of a cliche. We have to, and lots of youthful groups are pushing the governments. Let's ban the thing. Let's ban the thing. But the thing is, there's a lot of supply chain, as I said, in it. There's also, we have to invest into the education of the people. Someone in the village doesn't get it. Oh, I went to Accra and I saw this bag. They just buy it and they just use it. It's very simple and convenient. Why don't we do it in the village? Okay, they just adapt it. And all of a sudden they went to Accra and they cannot find the plastic bags again. What happened? They said the government has banned it. What happened to the education? We don't know about it. What should we do? Oh, we have to buy this now. Well, so there has to be a lot of things that has to be, done before it, because it has to work when it's banned. I'm not saying that banning plastic is not good. Sorry, single-use plastic is not good. But then we have to do a lot of, feasibility to know whether it fits us. Then we do that. Because of course, even when you ban it, there's already existing waste there that we have to work on, right? Already in the environment. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but it's good that, countries are getting even the thoughts of doing it. And that's a big sabbath. So let's go on with it, but there's a lot to do about it.
It's got a lot of work to do. And I think this has been a common theme for this evening, David, the whole thing of banning plastics and taking up more recyclables, in place of banning those plastics. And of course, we can't do these things until we have education in place, systems in place, infrastructure in place. So there has to be there's steps that need to be taken before you can go off and implement things. We can look at the e-levy that's coming in. It's coming into force.
Oh yeah, you're bringing
next
something.
next month, right? Of course, there's a process they've had to go through. It's been vetoed. It's been, it's been countered and things like that. You can't just if the government just brought in the e-levy, tomorrow without anyone knowing. Oh my gosh, would there be a society upheaval? But no, the government knows they have to go through steps in order to do that. And even though they're still bringing it in, of course, there's still people against it. Obviously, I'm not really for it, but of course, there's people for it, which is fair enough. Two sides to each coin. But yeah, we can't just bring these things in without having steps that have to be taken, and that's just how the way the world should go. Okay, so I've seen things have slowed down a little bit. Of course, we are starting to run out of time, but what I'm going to do now is I've got David's website on the bottom of the chat. So if you guys want to connect with David, see what he's up to, see what his business is up to, his ventures, learn more about his podcast, the Green Living Chats, that's the website below. That's ecoametsolutions.com, all in one word. We're going to go on a quick break, and then once we come back, it's going to be only a few seconds. Once we come back, we're going to continue with the discussions. If you have any questions, please leave in the chat. If you're watching on LinkedIn or YouTube, please hit the like button, leave us a comment, or drop a message in the chat. It really helps us to get the content out there and to make this discussion even more interesting. So we'll be right back after this quick break. Hey guys, this is Adrian with a quick message from our brand new sponsors, Ice Cream and Ting. So, are you a foodie in the UK that finds dessert options on food delivery apps a little bit basic and uninspiring? Well, you need to get yourself some Ice Cream and Ting ice cream and indulge yourself today. They make small batch ice cream tubs with flavors that are rich and inspired by the African continent and the Caribbean. So, what are you waiting for? Get some luxury ice cream ordered straight to your door by heading over to icecreamandting.com and enjoy this experience like I am today. Thank you very much. Now back to the episode. Okay, so that's this season sponsors icecreamandting.com. If you're in the UK and you want some tasty ice cream shipped straight to your door, whether you're in your London, Manchester, Birmingham, Leeds, wherever you are in the UK, head over to icecreamandting.com. They are season-free sponsors, and they'll happily get some ice cream over to you. They have plantain, they have strawberry, avocado, they have coffee, they have popcorn and peanut, which is one of my personal favorites. They have so many. And yeah, if you're in the UK, please take advantage. Hopefully they'll come to Ghana one day. But yeah, they are very, very tasty ice cream. David, I've got to tell you, fantastic ice cream.
I need to try that.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't have recyclable packaging, but I have been recycling my ice cream container, so don't worry.
We need to talk to them.
Yeah. You can have a conversation about it, and you can help them. You can maybe advise them, consult them on how they can make their packages a bit more eco-friendly and recyclable.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, before we get into maybe the final questions and wrap up the discussion, I know we're running out of time, but I don't know if you've got another 10 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah? Perfect, cool. So speaking of which, I don't know if you want to talk to the audience about what you guys do at Eco Amet Solutions from a business perspective and a consultancy perspective.
Yeah.
It'd be good for people to know.
Yeah. So just like to use the chance to say shout outs to our team from Afrisa, EIT, the Green Living Chat podcast, and all the consultants that are working with us at Eco Amet Solutions. And it's been fun to have such an amazing team that has dedicated to be working on this project that we're doing. So first of all, I would like to just mention that we are divided up. Our project, our business scope is divided into three ways. We have the consulting, we have research, and we also have education. Education is the podcast mainly. So we have conversations with different people all over the globe to have conversations about sustainability and how you can do that. So if you want to get deeper insights on what we are sharing here today, just dive into I'm sure the show notes, and you can get these conversations to listen to, or just Google Green Living Chats podcast, and it's everywhere on every podcast platform. So research, which I would like to highlight, we have our officer projects, and it's been an amazing journey. Currently, we are doing a project in Rwanda. We want to study the behavioral approach of the people. How do they accept, the ban of the plastic waste? And how did they process it? How did they dive into the alternatives they have now? It's something that hasn't been done so far. So we want to sort of create like a template that we can replicate in other African countries. So if you're looking forward to sort of, implement a plastic ban, come on, support us. Let's do this project. We want to study what Rwanda went through, and then we can see that this is what you have ahead of you, so that in the future, if any country like Ghana wants to ban this single-use plastic, this is probably the things that you have to look out for. And I think this is very important for the continent, because from Rwanda, we are moving to Malawi, where we are also engaging them, because now they are at the parliament level, policy level, hopefully releasing the ban very soon, but they are stuck somewhere. So what are some of the challenges they had over there? So we have an amazing research team that is actually helping us to dive into this research, and we are open to sort of sponsorship and funding for sure, because it takes lots a village to sort of do all these kind of research with our interns, volunteers, and people who are working with us part-time. So for sure, we are open to all sort of collaborations to help us do these kind of research. It's very important for the future of plastic waste management, and for sure solid waste management on the continent. And for sure in consulting, we have a wide range of things that we're doing. So we have our EIT team, that's environmental innovations team, who are working on an amazing project that I just can't wait to see it come to life. We are looking at more sustainable alternatives. So there are materials like coconut. I actually wanted to highlight a lot of other youthful organizations that are doing amazing things, but I think we'll have the chance to talk about that later in this conversation. But something like coconut, can we convert that into something that could work? Because if you walk on the streets of Accra, everyone loves to drink a fresh coconut, but what happens to the husk?
That's me every day, almost every day. That's me. I'm a victim.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. But afterwards, what happened to it, right? It's
It's
just
true.
thrown somewhere, and all these things are contributing to emissions because it's not properly, managed. So why don't we convert this into tables? Why don't we convert this into chairs, other things? Instead of cutting down the trees, right? Instead of using plastics to make, packaging, why don't we convert these into thin materials that could be used for maybe our bags or other things like that, right? So
Mm,
this is something that the EIT is working on, and I'm super excited about what they are coming up with. And for sure, we are open to these kind of collaborations. We're working with a German company um, that is sort of supporting us with insights and other things. And also, we have a super initiative that is the constructed wetlands. And so in Ghana, wastewater management is also an issue.
yeah.
Wastewater treatment.
Hmm.
And so if you go to communities and you go to their backyards, they bath water from the kitchen, from the washroom, and everything. They just channel it into a small channel that goes away. It just go away from the house. But
Wow.
these things just go on and seep into the groundwater. And if we get our groundwater being polluted, then we are in a big,
Trouble.
pit,
The
right?
water
So
tables, everything will be messed
exactly,
up. Yeah.
exactly. So one of the things that we are promoting at Eco Amet Solutions is nature-based solutions. Why can't we learn from nature? Let's study nature. How does nature retreat or regenerate itself? If you put this,
Mm,
if you cut a tree, it'll find a way to come out again, and in the next month you see the leaves coming up again. How does it work? If you go to places where we have mangroves, you don't see the sea extending its way into the land. So sort of mangroves have a way to sort of prevent flooding and other things. So why don't we learn how nature is working and we replicate it in our community? So one of the things that we're using is constructed wetlands. It's actually as simple as if you go to a normal wetland, after the wetlands, everything is just pure. So we use the constructed wetlands as just a way of using mixing plants, microbes, different aggregates of sand and gravels and other things to improve our wastewater treatment. And we have modeled it in such a way that it can be designed to bring recreational parks. We can include other
amazing.
amazing things that could make it look good. The good
Yeah.
part is it uses less electricity as compared to the normal waste treatment facilities that we have. And
Yeah.
also, of course, it beautifies the area. We can embed it with restaurants, shops, other things. Let's make Accra and other cities, Kumasi, Tamale, let's make them beautiful. But it's been difficult getting clients. But of
Yeah.
course, we're still educating people and people are buying in. We have a recent project that we are very, very promising, an eco
Mm,
community in Accra, and we are
yeah.
super looking forward to it. It's going to be a very amazing project. So, aside that,
Yeah.
EIAs,
Yeah.
LCAs, if you want us to help you with consulting how to manage your waste, maybe in a small industry, how to, even convert your waste into resources is a very important thing.
Very
Convert
important.
all the waste that you're generating into
Yeah.
resources. We are super excited to help you with this. And yeah, it's been an exciting journey. This is a little bit of what we're doing at Eco Amet Solutions.
Did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Just a little bit. This is exciting stuff. Like, doesn't this stuff make you want to do jumping jacks? Won't make you want to do backflips? This is really, really exciting stuff. Not only is a double-edged sword, right? Not only is the stuff that you're talking about, David, stuff that's gonna bring solutions to problems. It's also going to beautify the country, and of course, the
Yeah.
whole theme of today: make a greener Ghana, which is the whole aim, right? Make a greener Ghana. Amazing, amazing. And just in the comments you can just see how everyone is just blown away by all of the innovations and all of the ideas that you shared today. Cynthia said thanks, David. And Adrian Simbi has said yes. Sarah said, mommy here listening from UG campus. I
Nice.
can't remember where that is, but thank you for this. I've learned a lot and I hope to listen to more of such discussion. Yes, you can. That the link in the chat right now, the link on the video, glcpodcast.ecoametsolutions.com. You can listen to the Green Living Chat podcast right there. So thank you so much for joining us today, Sarah. I hope you're doing well at UG campus and all the best with your studies. Um, Laylo says, I want to invest in your podcast, bro. Bring me in. So it looks like you got an investor from
Yay, we are
today.
good to
So
go.
yes, you got an investor already. David. This is what we do at the Sound of Accra podcast here. We make magic happen. We bring people together. Of course, the link is in the link is on the video right now where you can connect with David. And actually, David, where can people directly connect with you? Is it like an email address or anything? People want to reach out to you directly, or of course, a LinkedIn. You can find him on
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
sure.
But is there like an email address that you want to share with the crowd?
Yeah, sure. We have people standing by to always receive from info@ecoametsolutions.com. And
Info at
also,
eco.
if there is anything specific to the podcast, it's also jlcpodcast@ecoametsolutions.com. So
There
these
you
two
go on
emails
the screen.
always on standby to receive your
There you go.
thoughts.
So you guys, if you want to connect with David, info at ecoametsolutions.com is on the screen right now. You can pause the video if you're watching on LinkedIn or Facebook. LinkedIn, not Facebook, LinkedIn or YouTube. You can pause the video or you can rewatch the stream. Okay. And you can obviously take all of the notes down. If you're watching on YouTube, there should be links in the description below in terms of how you can connect with David as well. So please head over to the YouTube channel. You can get those links. The YouTube is right there on the screen, youtube.com/the Sound of Accra podcast. That's ticking on the screen right now if you can see it. And if you want to reach out to David, info at ecoametsolutions.com. It's on the video right now, and it's also on the LinkedIn description and the YouTube description for all of the ways to connect with David. He's also
Yeah.
tagged on the LinkedIn post as well. So we're giving you all the opportunities, so you have no excuse. You have no excuse whatsoever. All right, you have no excuse whatsoever. Okay, let's keep this going. I think we're going to wrap up with a final few questions. I mean, we had
Yeah.
so many things that we wanted to discuss, but I think I'm going to have to bring you on season 4 somehow, David. So we're going to
Exactly.
bring you on season 4 because your content is just so amazing that people need to hear it. And in terms of the mission that you're on, it just hits so many angles, and the world needs to hear this even more. So Isaac has asked, what up, Isaac? Thank you again for tuning in tonight, brother. Any thoughts on reusing plastics for construction materials? Very, very good question.
Yeah, I love that. And this is actually where I wanted to highlight lots of things that other youthful organizations are doing. And in Ghana, we have someone, Nailplast Ghana, who is actually converting plastic. He's replenishing it with, some of the cement and other things that he use is a binding material for bricks, pavement blocks, and other things. And all these initiatives are now being supported. I've been talking to Nelson for some time, and they all say that the support is not there, but there are technologies that are willing to convert this, using that for material, for building and construction and all that. But my only thought here is there's a lot of research that has been done, so I just say that anyone who wants to dive into it, please do a little bit of research because it's important. The proportion of the plastic that you have to use with the other materials like sand is very important because, of course, fire and the heat and all that is also something that we have to also think about. But for sure, there are a lot of initiatives for even road construction that is being used, using plastic in there. Plastic is a very interesting material, right?
Mm,
It has so many properties that we can use in there. So all the single-use materials that waste that we find on our streets, in the channels and all that, we can
yeah.
actually use that, in doing other things. There is Macintosh in Ghana. He's doing an amazing job. Recently in Jowulu, there is a new bus stop station that was made from total waste plastics from
That's
Accra.
insane.
And
That's
you guys have to
incredible.
see that. It's amazing. He has this new project. He's also converting the plastic into school desk and also
Yeah.
using it for beach bench. I mean,
Mhm.
he has crazy initiatives. And of course, we don't have a single government institution supporting him. All his funds are coming from outside. So it's surprising that we cannot support our own. And it's a shout out really to the institutions that I think there is money. They should just invest because this is in two ways. If we can use these waste materials for producing everyday things that we use, it will cut down unemployment because a lot of the youth will be
Mm.
like, okay, the government is investing in it, there's a market for it. Can you imagine a Ghana where people are fighting over single-use plastic waste?
What?
I mean, imagine, right? I
It's
mean, we are
insane.
just solving the problem. And this is the dream of a lot of these youthful organizations, but the support is not there. So, Isaac, in short way, I think there are a lot of technologies that are being applied. If you want to know more about this, we can share links with you. And for sure, it's something that is definitely recommend, but based on research, because we also have to think about our health and other
Hmm.
things, because there's a lot related to it.
Yeah, very, very good answer. Very, very good answer. And these are very good examples of how these plastics have been reused for constructing different things, not
Yeah,
necessarily a home, but
yeah,
different structures, like the
yeah,
bus stop, like what you said.
yeah.
Thank you very much for your question again, Isaac. You are appreciated. I hope to catch up with you soon in person. And yeah, let's go to this final question. How can we educate the coastal community to not cut and sell mangroves for
Oof.
other uses, as this partly contributes to the coastal erosion they are facing? Very specific question. I'm sure you can take
Wow.
that.
So good. So really, really good.
Every question's hit the spot tonight, hasn't it? Every question's hit the spot today.
You
Fantastic.
know, the little problem that I have about the education system is we have lots of people with PhDs, masters, and all that. And these people are the educators who go to the coastal regions to talk to the local people. And when they get there, they're like, okay, guys, we have learned that 1.5 degrees, we have learned that, these big words like, climate change and all the big words that they use. The people do not understand them. How many educators really come down to the level of local people to actually even speak the local language to
Mhm.
understand them? In education, it's a matter of getting the person's attention. How do we get the attention? If we cannot get the people's attention, we cannot advise them accordingly. So,
Mm,
well, if you talk to the person and the people can really connect with you, then they can give you their heart. Because one, they are using the mangroves for other things because they do not have alternatives, or
yeah.
probably the alternatives are more expensive.
Mhm.
So if you can tell them that, okay, the reason why last year your home was flooded was because of this, and can you actually get them
Ooh,
alternatives? Can you suggest alternatives to them? They care about their homes, they care about their families, they care about money, they care about food, they care about shelter. So
yeah.
talk to them about these things and they can understand, and provide them with alternative ideas. And they get to know that even that alternative ideas could be a source of employment for them.
Mm,
Who else doesn't like it? But we just go use microphones and say that climate change, stop cutting the trees, stop doing this, stop doing that. They cannot relate because for them it's a lecture. They need to be educated, right? They need to understand what we're doing. So I think people who go out to the coastal communities and even local regions should come down to the people's level. I have a very simple example from Green Youth Organization,
mhm.
Green Youth Environmental Movement. They did a project in somewhere in Accra, and the lady was telling me about. Gloria told me that. I mean, they went down to the people's level. They spoke
Mm,
to the people,
mhm.
and they got the people to help them
Yeah.
in the solution, right?
Wow.
Because they were polluting their water, and
It's
they
true.
got the people involved in the
Involved.
solution. But how many projects do we go involving the people? We
We
just
just
go
go
and
out
tell
and do
them
it.
that, okay, we are building a new borehole in here. Why? Okay, the government just wants to do that for you. Educate the people, right? If they understand, they'll be willing, and create alternatives for them. If you just give them solutions without, the alternatives, you go back and they'll go back to cutting the mangroves.
It's true. Education is key here. Unless you educate them on what's going on and on what you're trying to
Yeah,
implement, they're not going to understand what you're trying to do, and they're
exactly.
just their mindset is not going to register with what you're trying to do, and they're just going to go and stick to what they know as their default.
Yeah,
So definitely needs to be some education in place before you go ahead
definitely.
and make some changes. And I love the whole thing of getting the community involved. And I think this is something that you'll see in the West, you'll see in other in places before they want to, even a small change, if there's a
Yeah.
small change happening in the city planning, even if my next door neighbor is going to do an extension to their
Mhm.
house, I
Yeah,
will get a letter saying,
yeah,
"Hey, Adrian, we want to make this change to this person's house. This person wants to increase the size of their roof, whatever. Um, we want you to take a vote on whether or not you're happy with this change or not." And it's a very, very small change,
yeah,
but every little counts, right? And they
yeah,
will let you know, and then you have a chance to vote on it, right? There's a system
exactly.
in place. But whereas places like Ghana, maybe there's not much system in place. There's lots of favoritism, there's lots of corruption,
Oh
there's lots
boy.
of, oh man, we can go into this very political stuff I'm talking about right here, but I don't want to go into too much
Yeah.
of this tonight.
We're gonna
Okay,
get there.
we're gonna get there. We're
Yeah.
gonna get there. But yeah,
Hmm.
there's, as you've heard this tonight, guys, there's so many problems out there, but at the same time, there's so many solutions, and not just
Exactly.
solutions. There's so many Eco Amet solutions, and this is what David is here, ladies and gentlemen, to help you with, whether it's finding solutions creatively in your business in terms of how you guys can use the environment and reuse waste, and
Yep.
just maximize, your waste usage and reduce your carbon footprint with all
Yep.
these different solutions and perspectives he's bringing in. Please do get in touch with David. He's it's been very, very informative discussion tonight. Kamaf says, I'm learning so much. Great conversation. Wash hands. I thought it was COVID that got us into the whole washing hands thing, not necessarily the whole environment thing, but yeah, I guess since the COVID pandemic has come and it's
Yeah.
gone, or whether it's still here or not, who knows? But the hand sanitizer gel has definitely been something
Super
where people are
important.
more, yeah, super, super important. And then Colin says, fantastic delivery by David. Yeah, I totally agree. So fantastic that we've gone over time, but it's
Oh
it's totally
boy.
fine. It's totally worth it. It's totally
Yeah.
worth it. He's made the time available, and I've made the time available, squeezed it in. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the discussion. Once
Yeah.
again, info@ecoametsolutions.com if you want to get in touch with David. His podcast is on the ticker on the screen right now. It's moving across the screen on the ticker. If you want to go check it out, that's glcpodcast.ecoametsolutions.com. If you want to check out his website, once again, let's bring it up. There we go, ecoametsolutions.com. There we go, nice and smooth. David, any tip before you go? Actually, is there any tips that you want to leave with the audience in terms of how we can be like tips in terms of um, making the most out of the best use of our waste, whether it's plastic waste, personal waste, reducing our carbon footprint,
Mhm.
looking at using waste creatively for our personal lives and businesses, and making positive contributions to the environment. Are there any tips you can leave with the audience?
Yeah, definitely. There is something that I actually wanted to talk about, and
Sure,
I
go for
think
it.
I would just
Go for it. Go
and
for it.
with this, there's a lot of unemployment in Ghana among the youth, and I think that it's about time that we just wake up as the youth. We don't have to just wait for the government to make opportunities for us before we dive into it. Recently, I was having a conversation with a friend, telling him that why is it that most of these initiatives in Ghana are being started by people who went outside and back in the country, who are seeing these opportunities. But think about it. If you just finished uni and you did a thesis, right? You finish your thesis. Is there a way that you can sort of find a way to implement your thesis or to start something? Because if we can solve unemployment by, controlling or finding ways to manage our waste, then why don't we all dive into it? There are lots of youthful organizations that are diving into recycling, converting it into product.
Mm,
It just takes a little research and a little bit of insight for you
yeah,
to do that. And we'll solve unemployment and solve our waste management issues. Than
at
to
the
see
same time.
people just walking around and just waiting for
Yeah,
the governments to open opportunities. Honestly, I don't know when the government is gonna,
wake up. Oh
wake
my
up.
gosh.
But guys, let's wake up and do it. We
So
can
many
we
missed
can do it.
opportunities. So many missed opportunity,
We
and it's
can do it.
painful. It's so painful. So many missed
Yeah.
opportunities by the government, and for so many things. So many things. We could talk about the year. We could even talk about the year return. You understand? So many missed opportunities by the
Yeah.
government in different verticals, including the environment and waste
Exactly.
management and the climate change.
Yeah.
So many unemployment. So many missed opportunities. I mean, shout out to 100K for Ghana, who I had
Oh
on
yeah.
live. Yeah, I mean they're trying to help that
I
problem.
love their
Shout out to you
initiative.
guys.
Love
Shout
it.
out to 100K for Ghana. Yeah, they definitely did their thing. But yeah, it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Yeah. So thanks again, David. Laylo says this, and then she says, "You got to bring this to Clubhouse." Are you on
Oh
Clubhouse,
yes.
David?
That's
Clubhouse.
gonna be fun.
We have a club. We have a Clubhouse club, the Ghanaian Times.
Sure, we
But
should.
yeah, I mean, it's
Let's chip it
Clubhouse
in there.
at the moment. It's not as active, but I'm sure one day when maybe things get a bit more lockdown-ish, then we might
Yeah,
try that
yeah.
again. So
Hmm.
yeah, thank you, David, for coming on the show.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much
much.
for joining us. And once again, just let people know where they can hear from you, get in touch with you, and if there's any announcements, anything you got coming up. Once again,
Sure, definitely. You can reach us, follow updates on www.ecoametsolutions.com, and we're on social media everywhere: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Eco Amet Solutions, or you just type Green Living Chats, or just type Eco Amet Solutions on Google, and you find us anywhere.
everything,
Our phone
everything.
number, our contact, emails, and everything. We have amazing things that are coming up. Just stay tuned on our website for updates, and for
Yeah,
sure. Always every week is a podcast. We're on a break currently. Season 4 is coming in 5th
there
June,
you go.
World Environment Day. So
Yeah.
guys, there are lots of episodes to listen to, over 80 episodes. So
So
guys,
80 episodes, ladies and
yes.
gentlemen. This guy's one episode ahead of me. Oh my goodness. He's already in season 4. I just finished with season 3. This guy is ahead. Like he's got you. Wow, you're killing it. You're killing them, son.
Yeah, it's really not easy, but it's good for the environment. So let's
Yeah,
please support us and let's develop together. Always I mention Africa, Ghana can develop, but let's do it sustainably. We have lots of brains in the continent. Let's dive into it. There's lots of research thesis lying in universities, libraries. Guys, let's go back to them and use them. All these solutions are lying down in universities and their libraries. So, guys, a little bit of research, or let's collaborate and we can solve these issues. If you don't know, just give someone a call.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just give someone a call, guys. Just as you heard that from David. David, you've been amazing. You absolutely blown away, not just myself, but the audience. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Adrian. It was really wonderful.
Pleasure. So, guys, thank you for tuning in today. So that's it for tonight. But next month we're bringing in some female entrepreneurs. Okay,
Yay,
the
let's
live
do that.
even though season 3 for the podcast is ending this week, but the content does not stop. Next month, we have more entrepreneurs coming on to do some live Q&A sessions. We have some amazing female entrepreneurs coming on. So don't go away. But yeah, we are gonna sign out with some last final announcements and videos. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll catch you soon, or we'll catch you on Sunday for the season finale of the Sound of
Looking
Cloud
forward to
podcast.
that.
Everybody's looking for it. I think 50,000 people looking forward to it. Okay. Again, the YouTube channel is on the descriptions on the screen right now. youtube.com/the Sound of a Choir podcast. You can see it on the screen right now. You can go over there right now and you can subscribe. Thank you very much. And please do give David a subscription on his YouTube, Eco Amet Solutions YouTube channel, or Green Living
Yeah.
Chats podcast.
Yeah.
You know, looking forward to your content. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Colin's giving us another question. Should we just
God.
let's just do it for the culture? Let's do it for the culture. Can the problem be solved with recycling or biodegradable plastics? You can quickly answer that one.
I mean,
Always
really,
happens when we're signing
thank
out.
you.
Always
Thank you for
happens.
bringing this up, because
right.
there is something we call greenwashing. Lots of products. Oh boy, there is a symbol. I think I'm sure you know this. There's this 3 arrows that is called, recycling, right? You see that on almost every product.
Yes.
That's the issue we have now, and people are bringing in biodegradable and everything. I think that it's a good solution, but the issue is actually from behavior. Because if we don't reduce the amount of things that we consume, even biodegradable materials are going to be a problem in the future for sure. Because imagine if we keep using them, let's say you take 3 drinks, Starbucks drinks in a day, right? You use plastic materials and then you just throw them away. Let's say the cup and the straw and the lid of the bottle, right? And then you just throw it away. If we replace it with biodegradable ones, right? Plastics takes years to degrade. Biodegradable, maybe a couple of months to a year, right?
Yeah.
If you still drink that same number of Starbucks coffee in a day, so it means the same amount of waste, right? But then it's also going to take time to degrade. And when it degrades, of course, degrading comes with emissions. It goes back to zero again. So it's more about a behavior than just the material, though that is also a good solution. in as much as we improve recycling, we have to reduce the amount of consumption, because that is just too much. Sometimes you don't need a straw. Like, honestly, just be honest. You
Yeah.
just don't need a straw. And if these shops could help us, I mean, Starbucks is doing a good job, but I think they can do way
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Let's bring our own mugs to just
Yeah.
get a coffee. In some
Yeah.
places, it's not allowed. And they are saying they're
Uh,
going to change that in 2050, in 2025.
2050, it'll be too late. It'll be
I
too
just
late.
don't understand. Why
It'll be
can't you
too,
do
it's
it
barbaric.
now?
It's too late. It'll be too late by then. I
Yeah.
don't know why they want to make their target so far away. It's too late, man. It's too late.
Yeah.
I was
don't
at
know
an event
why.
yesterday. I was at a networking event yesterday, and then I was with these two tech entrepreneurs. I think they've been in the tech industry for like 20 years.
Yeah.
They said they know a group of scientists that calculated that the end of the world is going to be 2040. And obviously we don't know that's true. And
Yeah.
and earlier on this week, I listened to a podcast where another group of scientists calculated that the end of the world is going to be 2060. So if you're telling us 2050, we're probably all gone by then.
They
So
just want to make
do
all
it
the
now.
money.
They want to make money.
It
And
just
I
doesn't
think
make sense.
it doesn't make sense. And the coffee shops, they are part of the problem, yo. How many non-recyclable or recyclable cups are they? But how many people buy coffee a day in any Western country? It's absolutely crazy. I don't
Adrian,
buy that much coffee.
let me just
Go on.
chip this
Let me
quickly.
let
I
you
mean,
land.
this is the
I'll let
last
you land.
thing.
Go for it. Go
This is
for
the
it.
last thing. The thing
Go
is
for it.
about our willingness, right? Look at COVID. COVID came and lots of countries had to do instant. Our president of Ghana had this famous quote that we know how to recover the economy, but we don't know how to something human life or something like that. Just to reflect the fact that human life is important, he closed the border. Some instant things that we just
Yeah.
did without thinking about,
Thinking.
the future.
Yeah.
Why is it that when it comes to waste management or sustainable practices that companies need to do,
Yeah.
they are like 2050, 20 blah blah blah?
They
And
don't
that's the
care.
same thing with the COP 26 and
Yeah.
other COPs that were made. It's just a talking show, honestly. I
Yeah.
mean, I know that they just did lots of good things. They talked about things, but
Yeah.
lots of countries made promises without actually thinking about how they are going to implement it because they had to say something. And so look at it. COP 27 is going to come, lots of promises in
Yeah.
Egypt. Next COP is going to come, COP 28. So if we are actually going to, abide or go by the words that we said in COP 26, why do we need COP 27? Right? It doesn't really make
Doesn't
sense. So
It defeats the
it's
purpose.
just gonna be promises, but are we really willing? Do you think that we cannot say that today we're gonna stop this? Let's say Starbucks says that we're gonna stop single-use packaging today. They can do it. They are big enough to do it. If they were able to stop all their sales in Russia in one day, why can they not do this? It's very simple, right?
Yeah.
So there is a lot of politics and a lot of, but it's more about the willingness, I think.
Yeah, definitely more about the willingness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cordy's right because private companies run politics.
Oh, shout outs to Cody. She's
Shout out to
doing
Cody.
amazing.
Shout out to
Environment
Cody.
360, super amazing company.
Big up yourself, Cordy. I gotta come out and check out your stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Felix, this awesome discussion. Well done, guys. Wow, guys, this was amazing. This went way better than I expected. You guys definitely showed that tonight. So a pat on the back for all of you.
Yeah.
But yes, David, we're gonna bring you on for season 4 because this is absolutely phenomenal stuff. Very thought-provoking stuff. I mean, I just want to go and do recycling all day now. So yes.
Let's
All
do
right,
it.
guys. Let's do it, guys. Let's go. Let's make it a greener Ghana. Let's make it a greener Africa, and more importantly, let's make it a greener world. Once again, guys, season 3 finale is this Sunday. YouTube description is on the screen right now.
Yeah.
Links in the description on YouTube and LinkedIn. Please check us out. We went viral, 50,000 views. Please be there on Sunday. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Live Q&A sessions will continue next month. We're going to have some female entrepreneurs this time because we do believe in diversity and inclusion.
Yeah.
Before you guys come and shoot us down. So please be there. Keep it locked on the Sound of a Crop podcast. David, thank you again once again.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
You're welcome. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to end the session with a few announcements, some videos, and enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you, guys.
Bye, people. Thank you so much for your questions.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
When I came, it's not the Ghana people see today. When I moved, you know Golden Tulip?
The Golden Tulip, yeah.
There was no road. It didn't exist. There was a dirt road. Culture shock. Ghana is a place that you can wake up one morning, internet, electricity, your toaster, your iron, everything's broken. After I passed 2 years, there was no going back. And it was like, go back to do what? To me, procrastination is a waste of time. I'd rather do something and fail than just dream about it. Every morning you wake up, somebody wants your position. The moment you decide to sleep, somebody's coming for it. Somebody's in a sick bed right now, wishing they had your problems. You're slow, you missed the boat.